What's good, ladies and gents? Welcome back to MKO Boxing, aka MKO Pugilism, where we talk all things boxing. Remember to like and subscribe on YouTube, follow on TikTok, all that good stuff. So I know it's been a while. Let's get back into it. So a bit of kind of comedic news from the man himself, Jake Paul, the man that people love to hate. Boxing fans definitely love to hate. He has drafted in the help for this fight against Anthony Joshua, AJ. He's drafted in now Don Charles. So Don Charles is going to be in the corner for him in just over 1 week's time, 8 days time now, I believe it, or 7 days time. Yeah, 7 days time now. Yeah, so he's drafted in the help of Don Charles to be in the corner. Now, I mean, obviously, anyone who knows about boxing, myself, anyone who's a fan or done a bit before, will realize that look, it doesn't really matter who he has in his corner, Jake Paul. It's not going to help him in this fight. It's not going to change the outcome. It's not going to give him a win because the gap in class, the size, the strength, the punching power, the skill, the experience, um, it's just going to be far, far, far too much for Jake Paul. But I do, I give him his respect for this in the sense that at least look, he's going in there with a guy that's probably gonna Joshua's gonna knock him unconscious if we're being realistic. So you got to sort of respect the fact that he's willing to jump in there and with a very, very, very dangerous man that's gonna knock his block off, is gonna take him out. And I suppose as much as it's not going to give him any real advantage, it's not going to make any real difference. Um, Psychologically, if I suppose if he was any good, if he was a good fighter, then this would make a difference. And I suppose psychologically, at least it can serve to maybe slightly bother Anthony Joshua. That because obviously Don Charles, Daniel Dubois' former trainer, he was in the corner when Daniel Dubois knocked out Anthony Joshua. So yeah, there's some psychology there, a bit of mind games there, and that might. I mean, I don't think it makes any difference on the outcome, but it's something that could serve to mess with Anthony Joshua's head a little bit. It's something to at least bother him or anger him. Because I can imagine, as I think it was Aden G Man was saying on their podcast that yeah, Don Charles, it was either them or, and I think the Undefeated podcast as well, those guys were saying similar thing that, yeah, Don Charles, get him in a press conference, he's going to be, trying to stick it on AJ a bit. He's going to be going for the jugular. He's a bit of an emotional character. He's a bit of a character, got a lot to say for himself. So it's one of those things that, okay, it's not going to win him the fight, but it might ruffle Anthony Joshua's feathers a little bit, bother him a little bit, press conference weigh in. It might cause a little bit of bother, but then I suppose in in all reality, bothering AJ is just probably going to get him knocked out sooner, I suppose, rather than later. But yeah, it's a bit of a news story there. It's Don Charles in the corner for Jake Paul. I think it's one of those things that it's good for Don Charles because he's recently been sacked by Daniel Dubois. Hasn't really got anybody as high profile in that he's training now as Daniel Dubois was, and I think it's a shame he sacked him because he had some good success with Daniel Dubois. He was getting good results with Dubois. So it's a shame, but it's a nice opportunity for Don Charles to get a fortune, which I'm sure Jake Paul would have paid him very, very well. So for Don Charles, it's good. Probably won't make much difference for Anthony Joshua, but you know, at least gives Don Charles a little payday, big payday, should I say there. So yeah, let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. And until next time, it's MKO Boxing, over and out.